that lights my fire because ultimately you take a look at the other teams that have a willingness to win. The Bears have to do the same thing. There is no holding back the money. You have plenty of cap space to be able to get what you need. And if you're Ryan Poles, I would say that looking at the Chicago Bears and everything that they've done, I don't know if the next move that the Bears will make will be a splash, but it is something that will be needed for the Bears. What I mean is that the splash that we know is the DK Metcalf deal, the Josh Allen re-up, the Devontae Adams, the Geno Smith going to the Raiders, and Myles Garrett. There's a number of storylines that's going around in the NFL. But for the Bears, you mentioned Drew Dalman. It's a name that we've been talking about a lot in Dalman. But I think that that's something that would be needed for the Chicago Bears. And, again, it's not about making, like, head-turning moves. It's about making the right move to fill this depth chart. You are bereft of talent on the defensive line. You still need to be able to have more on the offensive line. Look, I like what the Bears have done by having Jonah Jackson in the Ben Johnson reunion. I like Joe Thuney bringing a significant upgrade to the offensive line. Mm-hmm. They were able to make sure they have one of their special teams ace, Amen Obongbemiga, is back there. So that's a shrewd special teams move. He's locked in. They got a backup kind of blocking tight end and Durham Smythe, and then they re-signed defensive back Josh Blackwell. That's all the Bears have done so far. Yeah. But what you just mentioned with Dalman, if we find that out during Tyler and Meller, then that really solidifies what they have done on the offensive line. Now, that doesn't turn a blind eye to what they need on the defensive line, Adam, because that's still a problem.
Yeah. Oh, I almost had a heart attack yesterday. The Falcons put out, or someone tweeted out that. I saw it's just because you know how everything has to have a graphic now on Twitter? Yes. So there's already the graphics made, and then you're allowed to tweet out the breaking news, you know? So there was breaking news. The Falcons, it was just it was breaking news. There was a Falcons beefy white dude with his hand in the dirt. And I was like, oh no, they re-signed Drew Dalman. We're screwed. The Bears are screwed. But it was just another guard. Like, it was fine. And I was like, whoo.
They use the same picture of Drew Dalman every single time. There's only one picture that's ever been taken of Drew Dalman.
I know, but I saw that picture yesterday and I was like, oh God, they signed a big white dude. And I was like, oh my God, not Drew Dalman. There goes the entire day tomorrow. Because the Chiefs re-up Trey Smith and then you're going to re-sign Drew Dalman? Come on, what are we doing here? So, yeah, I think he's like the big prize today for the Bears. I think that, you know, a lot of things are happening, which is why you're seeing teams players either re-sign with their teams or be traded because the market's just not out there. Yeah. And we've talked about this at length where if you're going to make the move for Joe Thuney because of his age, and he probably only has 3 to 4 great years left. Like, he can probably play until he's 38 or whatever. Yes. But you're getting the rest of his great years in the next 3 years. It's kind of like the move for Tucker with the Cubs. Yeah. If you're going to do it, yeah. Go all in.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to. So if you're going to make a move for Hendrickson, do it. You got to spend the money on Dalman. You got to go out and try to get a high-profile defensive end. Rebuild your line in if you need to get Mason Graham, you need to maybe move up a spot to get Mason Graham. Because now is the time to overpay players because of Caleb Williams' rookie deal. Now is the time to overspend on Drew Dalman. Now, because you made the move for Joe Thuney, you're probably going to give him an extension. So why don't you just go all in and spend all this cap money, use picks if you have to, make this team as good as you can, because look at what happened to the Commanders last year. No one thought that they would be able to go as far as they did. The Bears can do the exact same thing.
Adam, I would say, for me as a fan, I don't count the money like my partner does. And is concerned about the cap and all that because I'm a fan, after all. And so when you say go all in, that lights my fire because ultimately you take a look at the other teams that have a willingness to win. The Bears have to do the same thing. There is no holding back the money. You have plenty of cap space to be able to get what you need. And if you're Ryan Poles, the general manager of the Chicago Bears team, you get tired of your blank being knocked in the dirt. You've been in last place. You've been underwhelming as a general manager for the most part because what have you gotten for it since you've been a GM?
He's got to do some winning.
So that's why you need to be able to win the offseason so that way you can win more games than you did last year. And I don't mean 5 or 7. I mean more than that. And again, that's going to be done with talent. Hendrickson could be in the area of $25 to $30 million a season. And that's the case. You do what it takes to be able to get the best. always say when I go shopping with Peacock, and she goes, I don't know if I should get that. I go, quality cost, pal. Just go ahead. I'll work an extra shift. Don't worry. I'll find a way to replace that bottle of wine. Whatever it is, right?
UIC's got to win another game, damn it.
right. Come on, CBI. Adam, you just do what it takes, right? Quality cost, pal. Get it, right?
No, absolutely. And that's why I think today's a big day, because we've been talking about this ad nauseum. You have to go out and spend. And even in the letter to season ticket holders, when Kevin Warren said that he was going to raise ticket price, the Bears were going to raise ticket prices around 10% for all season ticket holders. He also said that they're going to be major players in free agency.
Sure.
So go do it.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Yeah.
If you have to overspend a few $1 million for Drew Dalman to outpace the market and what other teams are offering him, do it.
Let me just put it this way. If Tooney and Jackson are the biggest splashes that the Bears have this offseason, I'd be very disappointed. I'd say that's really good building blocks, but you need more. Just remember where the Bears were last year. I know that we're far away from the regular season now, but just remember the pain it was where the Bears couldn't stop anybody, okay, as far as the offensive line. On the other side, defensively, how porous that defense was, where there was, quote-unquote, give up, I thought at times throughout the regular season for that defense, because the defense didn't get home to the quarterback or they didn't make enough plays. You have to look at that tape if you're Ryan Poles and say, this ain't good enough. I'm going to do whatever it takes to be able to get better players on this team, draft and free agency. So, Charlie, let's open the phone lines for Bears fans here on the home of the Bears. 312-332-ESPN, 332-3776 is our telephone number. The NFL tampering window opens today, and we're discussing what the Bears have left to do. Give us a position that you think the Bears should shore up. They've already taken care of some of the offensive line. What about some of the other positions on the football team? What do they need to shore up now in this NFL tampering period? Let's talk about it. Adam Abdalla is in for Cap on the Cap and